Oh, there you are. You see, we've become all Christmassy today, haven't we? We have suddenly become all Christmassy. Welcome along. It's Chris Reardon welcoming you to today's United Kingdom Talk. I hope you're well. I have done decorations in the studio. Yes, this will be the third Christmas we have spent together. Those of you that have been with us from the very beginning. And this is the first time I've done a few little decorations in the studio. Right in front of me, there are little statuette things. We've got the three. Who have we got there? Oh, hang on a minute. I can't see the faces. There we are. We got the three kings. We got Mary and the baby Jesus, and more importantly than all this, the sheep at the end. Oh yes, but no donkey. Where is the donkey? That is a donkey. Maybe he's just not got here yet, boys and girls. Hey, the sheep is here, but not the donkey. Very disappointed. Last time I sat on a donkey, it collapsed. Do you remember when I went to see my sister up north a few months ago now, wasn't it? Back in, no, the visit before last. It was the visit before last when I went in June, and she took us to this dreadful place called Skegness. Oh, God. Now, I like seaside resorts, okay? I don't mind a few machines, you know, a few little amusements, maybe a chip shop here, but the place is so over-commercialised, it's unbelievable. If you don't want to be among hundreds of people eating enormous amounts of ice cream and chips and playing on fruit machines, don't go to Skegness. God, oh, it's awful there. Awful. Anyway, so maybe that's where oh, of course! That's probably it. The donkeys are still working at Skegness because there, of course, you can sit on a donkey and go riding up and down the beach. I mean, this it was 5 donkeys. I think 2 of them, a couple of them were with little children on. And my sister says, "Do you want to go on a donkey?" And she looked at a donkey. Well, you've never seen this donkey move so fast in all your life. It went the other way quickly, and my sister's running after it, trying to catch it. So there we are. I haven't got a donkey, but there's a little sheep there as well. I don't think you can see. Where's the sheep? There's the sheep. So it needs to be raised up a bit higher, doesn't it? This studio, I tell you. Although, those of you watching on YouTube, you can, of course, see all of this. If you want to see as well as listen, then just go to the main United Kingdom Talk website. You'll find that at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, it's all a bit of an illusion. I'm not going to lie to you. When you see television programmes and proper things like, I don't know, like the X Factor, when you see it on the telly, it's all like quite nice and beautiful, and there's no seams in the set behind, and it's all. When you actually go to the studio and you see it behind the set, you see everything, all the struts holding things up and all that business. And I can't lie, it's a bit like that in here, right? For example, I've just told you that these little figures need to go up a bit. Now, I can't find anything to put them on, but I will already tell you, I'm going to give the secrets away, okay? Right, if I remove these figures, look what's underneath holding them up. A telephone directory. But I think they just need to go. Oh, I want my sheep to be. Oh, hang on, I could put this under it, couldn't I? This little pad of. I've got stick-it notes. Have you got these? Are they what are they called? Stick-it notes or something like that? Hang on, will that make any difference? No. Oh, now we've got the sheep's head. It's still not high enough. Just a minute. Oh, I know. 1 minute. The old trusty video cassette. When's the last time you put one of these in a machine, eh? Have you got a digital recorder now, or what? I have. Oh, it's so easy to use. Right, hang on. There we are. That's better. Now you can see the sheep. That's better. You get the we 3 kings of... Oh, it's getting closer. Santa Claus is coming. Yes, he is. All right. So there's that there in front of me. Behind me, I have a sparkling Christmas tree. It is sparkling, boys and girls. It's a small tree with little white stars illuminated on it. And, oh, what are they called? Do you know the glass long bits with the... what are they called? With lights at the end. long bits of fibre optics. I've got fibre optic lights, and it's shimmering. It's shimmering, and not only that, I've got a wreath above me made of big cones. You know, the cones that fall out of trees, and I think there's some mistletoe there. I dream that at some point this year someone's going to come rushing into the studio and kiss me all over. I want to kiss you all over. All right, so that's the studio, all decorated, flashing lights, and of course those of you watching will see a little Christmas opening sequence and the sequence right at the end of the show as well. All done for Christmas. There we are. Is it a Merry Christmas jingle? Well, it might be a Merry Christmas jingle. Hang on a minute. It's one of those generic ones, I'm afraid. 1 minute. It is quite nice. It's quite nice, though. We'll find that one. Is this it? No, that's not it. Is it Have a Merry Christmas? I can't remember now. Oh, I can't find it. Hang on. Title. Maybe I can put it under title. Merry. Oh, yes, here it is. Here it is. And to add to the festive fun, Merry Christmas, everyone!
Have a Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Yeah! There we are. Let Christmas begin! Yes, yes, yes. And you will notice that we haven't gone too early. We're not having any of that rubbish where everything comes out at the end of October. There we are. We've started just a couple of weeks before, which I think is about right. I don't know about you. If you want to join into the show, please feel free to do so. The email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. It really would be lovely to hear from you, all right? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, actually buying the tree, I only got it yesterday. If you remember on the last show, which I recorded on was Sunday afternoon, I said to you I was going to rush out and try and purchase a tree. Ha! For love of money, I tell you. I rushed down to Sainsbury's home base as soon as I finished the show. It would have been about, I mean, it was, to go shopping on a Sunday, I left this room at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which in all honesty is a bit late to be going shopping on a Sunday because a lot of the shops close about 4 o'clock. And first of all, I went to Sainsbury's home base, which is like a DIY place. And I went there because they'd been advertising all Christmas items 75% off. I thought, hello, money off. Now you're talking my language. Well, I went in there, dear. They had nothing left. They had nothing left in there at all. There was about 3 trees, far, far too big for the studio here, I'm afraid. And there was a couple that were, shall we say, seconds. So they had something wrong with them. That is no good to me. They did have some that were, interestingly enough, they did have some that were unlit. Now, the one I've got next to me is what they call pre-lit. You don't have to do anything to it. You take it out of the box, open up the branches, and plug it in. And it's all very lazy and easy and all that, but that's what I've got. I did have a few in there that were not lit, but I didn't want one of those, you see, so I went to the customer service. Customer services, can I help you? Wednesday, oh, of course. And, you know, this shop was particularly busy, right? And there were 3 people on the till. Why is it they can never get enough people on the till? Not only are there 3 people on the till, but there are also 3 people in the customer services area doing nothing. Oh, if I run a shop, I tell you, I'd put customers first. I really would. So, I went over to the till. What had I bought? Oh, that was with the wreath, because they did have a wreath there, okay? Which I've got hanging behind me there, which keeps, just a minute. Oh, don't say the phone's going to ring. I'm not talking to people on the phone now. 1 minute. Let me turn the sound down so you can't hear it. 1 minute. Shut up, woman! There we are. Turn that off. Sorry about that. We will not be interrupted today, thank you. For our very first little Christmas programme. So I went Yeah, to the cash desk for the wreath, which is now turned around the other way. Oh, 1 minute, 1 minute. Do that like that. There we are. Paid for it. I says, are you getting any more trees? And he says, no, it says there's none left. I said, when did they all go then? He said, they were walking out the door yesterday morning. On Saturday morning, of course, people doing their Christmas shopping and all that sort of thing. So unfortunately, couldn't get one from there. From there, I went to Argos, which is in the town centre. And I thought, well, they're bound to have some in here. So I looked at the... because Argos, that's like a catalogue shop. Okay, so you go in there and they've got catalogues kind of on tables. And you look for the catalogue, see what you want, and then they've got a little machine and you type in the code of the item onto the machine. It tells you whether there's one in stock or not. If there is, you then go and pay for it. And you don't have to talk to anyone. Because you know what I'm like talking to people in shops? I'm not keen on shop assistants. I'm sorry. Pushy, or don't know about what they're selling, or just plain rude. That's it, isn't it? It's true, dear. You know it's true. Naughty. So I looked at the Christmas trees and I thought, oh, I'll have that one. Type. None in stock. Okay, fair enough. Let's have a look. Oh, found another one. Type. Not in stock. Well, I did about 8 trees and they had nothing left. Nothing left. And I thought, oh my God! Where am I going to get my tree from? Because this tree I have purchased, it's only for you, dears. Okay? There's no other decoration. I won't lie to you. There's no other decorations in this house other than my little figures, my tree, and my wreath. That's it. And it's all for you. It's all for you. It is. You see? I care. I do care. Just to add a little sparkle into your lonely, pathetic lives. I really do. So, from Argos, I thought, I'll try Bentl's, the department store. So I went into Bentl's, had a look around. Do you sell Christmas trees? No, I'm afraid we don't. And that surprised me because that's a big, it's one of my favourite stores, that is. Customer service is very good there. And the staff do tend to be okay. Some of them are a little bit stuck up because it's one of those department. You know, whenever you run into someone who works in a department store, do you not think they do feel a little bit, they seem to think they're a little bit better than someone who works in a normal chain store? Do you find that? I know there's a particular store in America. I think it's J.C. Penney, isn't it? J.C. Penney? I mean, I remember going over there when I was in Florida. And I went to J.C. Penney. And the staff were very la-di-da, you know. Oh, I'm better than that one who works in the chain store. Do you find that? But anyway, they didn't have any trees either. And I thought, well, blow me down. Ah, I know. It's our old favourite Woolworths. Now, Woolworths have recently, I believe, gone into administration. They're going bust. Woolworths are going bust, and it's all very, very sad, really, because they've been here in the UK for 99 years, which, believe it or not, is even longer than I've been on the planet. What do you mean, only just? Well, I beg your pardon, dear. Anyway, so I thought I'd try Woolworths. Now, Woolworths is right at the other end of town, but, you know, I didn't mind walking. Just for you. Just to get your tree. So I went into Woolworths. I saw a display of a few trees. I thought, we'll get one in here. Went over to the display. There's nothing there. Nothing there other than these sad display models which look like they've been pulled to bits. And I said to the bloke, I said, is there any more trees out the back? He said, no, that's it. He said, you're welcome to take a display model if you want. And I looked at these things. I thought, no, what's the point? So that was that. And not only that, but while I was in Woolworths, I did notice everything has been reduced because they're just selling a lot now. Some stuff's reduced by 25, 50%. And Woolworths are particularly well known for, I think, Easter eggs. I mean, they didn't have any Easter eggs in, of course. But they're particularly well known for that. And also sweets. And people literally had armfuls of sweets on special offer going to the till. Not only that, but if you looked around the store, you could see shelves were starting to become empty. And it's all, I don't know, there's something very sad. I don't know, I can't explain, but there's something very sad about Woolworths going bust. If it was if it was Sainsbury's or Tesco's or Waitrose or even my favourite supermarket, Asda, if it was one of those, I wouldn't be sad. It wouldn't bother me. Oh well, never mind. I wonder what will come next. But Woolworths, I don't know why, but there's something very, very sad about Woolworths going bust. Maybe it's because it's been around us such a long time. Maybe it's because I remember going there and as a little boy with mum and dad just having a look round. And you could go in there and they have everything in Woolworths. And as I grew up, I used to go into Woolworths for my records. They would have a specific... And when I became a DJ, they used to have a specific section in Woolworths for new releases, and you would go there and look for, and the girl would even play them on the hi-fi system in the store. That would have been the Woolworths in East Sheen in southwest London, southwest 14, just before you get to Richmond. That is on the Upper Richmond Road. Those of you in the UK, I used to spend lunchtimes in there looking through the records, and then you'd look at other parts of. They used to sell little electrical goods and, as I say, sweets and things like that. There's just something very, and you know, as I say, if it was one of the big supermarkets closing down, you wouldn't bat an eyelid. It wouldn't bother me in the slightest. If Tesco, Sainsbury's, something like that, if they were closing all their branches tomorrow, it wouldn't bother me at all. But Woolworths is sad. It's really, really sad that. I don't know if you've got any opinions on that. Do let me know. It's Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Well, so nothing in Woolworths. I then thought, well, where else can I go for a Christmas tree? And then I thought, well, maybe Sainsbury's have got one. So I went up to Sainsbury's. I thought, well, I want to do some shopping as well, because I'd run out of blueberries. You know, I like to have blueberries and banana and bran flakes for breakfast in the morning. So I went up to Sainsbury's and I looked, oh, no queues. And I thought, well, it's quite busy though. So I then got my basket. I only got about 3 items altogether. I said, do you sell Christmas trees? No, I'm sorry, sir, no Christmas trees. Oh, well. I thought, well, that's it then. Well, I've got the wreath, and I thought, well, you just had to put up with a wreath behind me and nothing else. I mean, I did have some other little lights. I got like these lights. I think this is. I'm not sure if this is a Jewish thing with the lights. If we've got any Jewish people listening or watching the show, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 lights now. Is this a Jewish symbol? I just seem to remember some sort of structure, I think, which used to be, I don't know if anyone knows Wandsworth in southwest London, but there's a roundabout there, a big roundabout on the A3, and they always have this structure there, which I do believe is something to do with the Jewish festival Hanukkah, which is their festival of light. And I wondered if these little lights that I've got here, is this a Jewish thing? I don't know where they were upstairs in the loft, so I must have bought them at some point. But basically it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lights, and they kind of go in a V shape. So you got 1, 2, 3. The 4th one is the one right at the top, and they go 1 up, 1, 2, 3, and the top 4, and then down 5, 6, 7. Is that a Jewish thing, or is that just some sort of normal Christmas decoration? I'm not sure. Do let us know, Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. So there's my bag of shopping. Then I went to the tills. Oh my God, you've never seen queues like it, dear. You never seen. There's so many people in the queues. There must be about 5 or 6 people in each queue. Well, I'm sorry, I don't queue up to give people my money. Once again, all the tills were not open, and it does annoy me to queue up, to have to queue up and hand my money over. So I took one look at the queues, I put the basket down by the checkout, and I walked out. I'm not having any of that. I've done it before, and I will do it again. Sort your blooming checkouts out. And don't be screaming at me, oh, we're short-staffed. That's not my problem. Sort your staff out. I'm sick to death of hearing that. The trouble is, these days, nothing is kept in reserve, is it? Years ago, and that's like everything. That's like everything. I gather that, was it in the summer or this winter? I can't remember. One of the electrical or the national grid was saying if there's a sudden surge in demand for electricity or gas, something like that, I can't remember the exact story, we may not be able to meet it because they don't have any backup anymore. Right? Years ago, you'd have all these backup. It's like we have a problem here in the UK with our gas prices. Now, years ago, they used to store the gas. So they would buy it from somewhere cheap and then they would store it and then let it all come out again. Well, they got rid of all the gasometers, didn't they? Huh? Oh, no. Too expensive to run those. They got rid of... Now we've got nothing in storage. So it's all like on demand now. It's a ridiculous situation. I'm sure it's the same in supermarkets. There's many times I've worked in bars and they don't have enough staff. They run it on a skeleton staff. And if only some of these stupid managers would understand that actually, if you have an extra member of staff, you might actually sell more drinks. You know... But they don't. They run it on a skeleton staff so that, of course, if someone's ill, bang, you're in trouble straight away. There is no room for error or mistakes or illness anymore. There's no room for it because it's so tight all the time. I don't know how we got onto the subject of that. So, in Sainsbury's I was, put the thing, and then I went, and I thought, well... and then I thought, shall I go and get my shopping from somewhere else? And I thought, oh, I can't be bothered. So I came home and all I had was a wreath. And I hate... Don't you hate that? Don't you hate that when you go out shopping and you don't come back with what you wanted? I hate that. Oh, not only did I not come back with that, the only thing I came back was with that blooming wreath hanging up behind me. Never mind. So now you're wondering where the tree came from then, aren't you? Well... On, what day was it? On Tuesday this week, I went down to the garden centre. Now, there's a garden centre just down the road called Longacres, and they have the most marvellous Christmas displays in there. I think some of the best Christmas displays are now, they're not in department stores, they're certainly not in supermarkets, but they are in garden centres. Have you seen, perhaps there's a garden centre near you? Do you have a Christmas section? Oh, it's beautiful. And they have some beautiful things and some very, very expensive things as well. And that's where I got this tree from. Now, again, they were running very low on trees. There were only a few to choose from. And I just got lucky with this little one behind me with the fibre optics and the little twinkling, well, they're not twinkling, the little white stars. I don't think you can actually see that they're white stars on the video picture because they just tend to just be white. There's probably some sort of filter I need for the camera that I'm using to do this to deal with lights and things, but I'm not a professional photographer or anything like that. So that's it. Now they did have some other bits and pieces in there. I must admit, I was tempted, boys and girls. I was tempted by an animated Santa Claus. It was moving like this and chuckling and doing things, but I couldn't find... I did have a look at it, but I couldn't find a way to turn the noise off. And the last thing you want is me trying to do my show over the next few weeks and some idiot going ho, ho, ho every 5 minutes, wouldn't you? Or waving. And they had animated snowmen and little lit up houses and cottages, you know, with lights in them. My favourite item was a ferris wheel, which is like it's a big wheel. If you don't know what a ferris wheel, it's a big wheel and it turns slowly and it's got little people that are on the Ferris wheel, and presents and other little characters, and the whole Ferris wheel turns slowly. Now, it wasn't that big. I suppose it was about, let's think, it was about a foot high, and it turned slowly, but it was, but that was expensive. £125 that was. $250 for this Ferris wheel, and I thought, blimey, not going to sell many of those. But you see, the thing is, down that particular garden centre, there's a lot of rich people go there as well. Yes. They also had real Christmas trees. This Christmas tree behind me is an artificial one. I had some real ones as well there. And again, the queue in the garden centre. Oh, wait till you hear this story. The queue in the garden centre is always bad. I love it very much, that garden centre. Nothing gives me greater pleasure than to walk around there in the summer, just browsing. Although I've got to say, I find it very difficult to just go in a garden centre and browse. I always spend far too much in there. But on this occasion, I just wanted to buy the tree, and that's indeed all I ended up with. I got to the till, and there wasn't too many. It was about 3 people in front of me. But you see, in a garden centre, even one person in front of you can take a long time if they've got lots of plants and things. But most people, they just had Christmas decorations and trees and things like that. So I'm standing in the line. There's a bloke in front of me with an enormous, great big Christmas tree. Great big Christmas tree in front of me on a trolley. There's a bloke behind me as well, and someone behind him and someone behind him. So quite busy. So I'm standing there, and this queue isn't moving. I had a little look around. You know how you look around, to see what's going on. And the checkout lady is chatting to some woman who's in front of the guy with the trolley. So this went on for a while. I thought, come on, why is this queue not moving? And then the bloke behind me peered around my shoulder. I said, come on, we're all waiting here. Well, the checkout assistant, completely oblivious to the queue, she must have been. And this woman is chatting away to her about her daughter or whatever else was going on in her sad, lonely life. And I looked at it and I said to this bloke, I said, they're having a conversation there. He says, I know. He says, come on, we're all waiting here. So I didn't say any more. And then the bloke in front of me looked round, the one with the big Christmas tree. And I says, oh, these women, they don't half like chatting, don't they? And he says, he didn't really say anything, he just threw his eyes up to heaven like that. I thought it reminds me of that programme Loose Women on the telly. Have you ever seen that programme Loose Women? Oh, God. 4 women sitting at a desk, cackling away for an hour. Oh, that would do my brain over. Put my hands over my ears. Chat, and they and you know what they're like, groups of women, and they sit there slagging everyone off, don't they? That's all they do. Chat, cackle, 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 cackle. Oh, jeez, it does my brain in, it really does. And again, the bloke didn't say anything, turned around and continued in his wait for the till. And I thought to myself, oh, well, he didn't say much. At that point, right, the woman at the front of the queue who was doing all the chatting came back and says, you better put the tree through now. Of course, it was her husband, weren't it? Well, I didn't know. Stupid woman. She should have hurried out and gone through the checkout. We're all waiting. How was I to know it was her husband who I was complaining to? I love it. We love it. Oh, well, I hope her tree fell over when she got home. I really do. Okay, it's time to move on to the emails. Incidentally, my new gadget arrived. I was waiting for a new item. Yeah, that came Monday. Oh, and then that was a job in itself. I waited in all day Monday. Eventually, it arrived at 3:45 in the afternoon. Of course, 3:45 in the afternoon. Once you got to that, there's no time to do anything else, is there? So I just went back to bed for a couple of hours after that. Right. Let me see. Oh, and something else I've got to do this week. My annual letter from the accountant has arrived. And of course, you know, I send all my papers off to him. I actually send them all off to him in May. And it takes him this long to write back to me, you know, when we've only got a few weeks before we have to get our accounts into the Inland Revenue. In America, you would call that the IRS. I have to send all my accounts to the accountant. Now, let me think if I'll get this right. He does all the paperwork, sends it to me to sign, then he sends them some forms. I don't know. And then I just pay the money and that's it. But he always leaves it till now. And it's only 6 weeks before we've got to get these bits of paper in now. And so close to Christmas, you know what I mean? I can't be doing all that. Right, off we go then. Email time, my darlings. Email address, once again, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co. Oh, I've got that box to open as well from Joe. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is the email address. Now, you remember, I've been having a bit of a problem with ulcers right on my tongue at the back and a bit of a dodgy throat. Have to say to you, both are now, it would seem, starting to heal up. I hate to say this, but it's not as bad if I don't talk for a long time. So, believe it or not, I haven't been ringing people and pestering them and talking to people a lot this week. I've been trying to rest my tongue. And I have a feeling that's why they were taking so long to heal up. Because tongues wag, don't they? Tongues waggle. Some more than others. Mine, particularly a lot. So I think that's why the ulcers were not healing up. I've got a feeling that's why it was. But they are starting now, slowly but surely. They're not quite right yet, but they are better than they were, right? And Wayne Anonymous, at last, I've wondered where he disappeared to. Or also known as Irvin Destiller on Facebook, says, "Hello, Chris. The problem you are having with your tongue may be related to a condition known as thrush. Now, isn't that something women get? Or is that a complete... Am I wrong here? Is that a completely different thing? Thrush for men." Sounds like the title to a new shampoo, doesn't it? Thrush for men with added conditioner. Oh dear. Anyway, Irvin says, "This must be treated by antibiotics. Sometimes thrush will also cause chapped lips as another symptom." No, I haven't got that at all. "As for your swallowing discomfort, that may be swollen glands. I would not be surprised if your doctor requests a blood test. You aren't pregnant, are you?" I don't know. Well, hang on a minute. Let me count the weeks. No, don't, I'm not due for another week. Oh, stop it. Is that over the line? Stop it. Too much frivolity on this show. Calm down now. Irvin says, "You probably have already gone for your checkup." Yes, I had. The sore bones and know the results. Keep well, Uncle Irv. Yeah, well, I did go to the dentist, as I said, Uncle Irv. And he gave me a paste. I'm sure I mentioned this in the last show, to put on the ulcers, which I managed once. And in all honesty, it was very, very difficult to get it on. So I only put it on once, which is a bit of a waste, really. Because now I've got a tube of paste doing nothing. But they've really got better on their own, to be honest. All right, so hopefully that in a week or so time they will be completely healed. And hello to Matty, the Devil. Oh dear, I've got maybe the tongue problem has now moved on to my chest, because it's all coming up like a good one today. "Hello, Chris. How are you, my friend?" And he says, "Why don't you wear a bike helmet?" Ah, you must be meaning the little bits of film at the beginning and at the end of the show. We don't have to wear bike helmets here. Okay? That's why. Some people do, some people don't. I don't. I don't wear a bike helmet, push bike helmet. He says, it's illegal to ride a bike without a helmet here in Australia. Now, you don't want the police to pull you over, do you? No, well, they won't, because it's not illegal here. Yes, I noticed that on my trips to Australia, everyone wears a cycle helmet, which is probably a sensible thing. I don't have one. I tried a motorbike helmet on once, and I found that really uncomfortable, and I hated it. I hated it. This whole thing clamped, you know, to the top of your head. I really didn't like that at all. I can't be having things on my head. It's like when I went on this boat trip to the Barrier Reef, and we had to wear goggles to do snorkeling. You had to wear the goggles like that, and they seem to cover your whole, virtually whole of your face and your nose, and that pipe. Oh no, I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Eventually I got this thing and I had to take it off straight away. Can't stand it. Oh, it was horrible. It's this thing attached to your head. No, can't be doing that. He also goes on to say, let me see. Another thing, I'm going to get a water pistol when I get to the UK, take it to Bingo or Belushi's with me and start squirting you with it. Well, that would be a stupid thing to do, Matty. What about all the electrics there, dear? I'll be electronically acuted. I will be electronically cuted. Yes. You mustn't use water near electrical stuff. Do you want me dead? Is that what you want? Who's going to talk to you then on the radio? Exactly. He says, I'm going to laugh about while I'm doing it. Oh, yeah, I shall light up. My hair will all stand up on end, dear. Don't use water near electricity. Don't be silly. Then I'm going to talk to you for 24 hours in your ears so that you get a big headache. So that I can drive you mad. What, are you, what, even more than now? You give me a headache now, Matty. It'll be even worse when you get here. Huh? I'll tell you what, you give me the date when you're moving here and I'll move out. How's that? I'll move to Tasmania on the same day that you move here. Oh, don't start talking to me. I bet you're like an old woman, aren't you, when you're talking? Chat, chat, chat. I can't stand it. I'll tell you that now. I cannot stand people chatting incessantly. I really can't. Oh, it's just on and on and on, dear. Thank you, Matty, for that. Now, where are we going now? I thought there was another bit here from Matty. Maybe I'll come across that in a minute. We must open the parcel from Joe from AmericanTalkUSA.com. Have you been, I think you've been singing or playing a guitar on one of your shows. I'm a little bit behind on shows at the moment, Joe. From Suko. On the subject, do you remember that bag lady that beat me up the other day when I tried to give her some money? Do you remember that? That was on last Saturday's show, wasn't it? Suko writes, that bag lady didn't know what she was missing. Listening to you would have opened up a whole new world to her. It did for me. Poor thing, though. She was obviously mentally disturbed. Well, I am too, dear. You know that. I'm very mentally disturbed, Suko. Most of those homeless people are, she says, but they seem to be beyond help, most of them. What can you do? It makes the rest of us appreciate what we have, or at least it should. Yeah. I mean, that's true enough. You know, there are plenty of people over the time that this show has been on that sometimes write to me with personal things. People who think their life is just so bad. But when you get a little story such as the bag lady I saw with my own eyes, who's only got those few bags of clothes, she hasn't got anywhere to live. She's probably drunk all the time, drinking methylated spirits. How many people watching or listening to this show now can honestly say they're worse off than that? Indeed you, Matty, who go on about being so unhappy in Tasmania. Do you not have a home? Do you not have food to eat? Do you not have a computer to join with us on here? How would you like to swap places with that bag lady? Suddenly, it doesn't seem so bad, does it? So we must always remember that there are always people worse off than ourselves. If you're watching or listening to this show, then you are better off than a lot of people, not because you're watching this particular show, but because you have the means to watch or listen. Either a computer or satellite. Satellite radio. If you've got satellite radio or computer, these things are not cheap, are they? So maybe, just maybe, you're not as badly off as you think. Put yourself in the position of that old woman. Clearly, over the years, people have probably abused her in the streets. I know, as well as you know, that's why she lashed out when I tried to give her some money. She probably thought I was about to attack her. Probably the wrong thing to do that, then. Remember that. Remember that next time, Matty, you write me an email telling me how much you hate where you are and all that. You just remember that. You've got somewhere to live. You've got food to eat. You've got people that care for you. And don't say people don't care for you. Otherwise, you'd be out on the street as well. It's as simple as that. Okay? Another one here from our friend Irvin Destiller. One of my Facebook friends, also known as Wayne Anonymous. Do feel free to join me on the Facebook thing as well, okay? We picked up I don't like that term. We've picked up another friend and loyal listener has joined us on Facebook this week, and I'll be coming to him in a moment. In a country where I haven't had a friend or listener join us yet. So that's quite exciting. That's all coming up in the next 20 minutes or so. Irvin Destiller says, Chris, it's a damn good thing you didn't get hit by one of my mother's PGD purses. Now, what is a PGD purse? Irvin says it's a portable garbage disposal. I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. These women, they carry around everything in their handbags, don't they? These handbags are so heavy. Do you remember, boys and girls, what was in your nan's handbag? I want you to write in and tell me this, okay? What was in your nan's handbag? My nan, she always had mints and a bar of fries, chocolate, cream chocolate. And a tissue, and a purse, and her glasses. That's it. That's what Nan always had in her handbag. And it would have a little clip on the top, wouldn't it? Clip as she opened and closed it. Oh, and some money for giving me and my sister whenever she made an appearance at our house, yeah. What was in your Nan's handbag? Do you remember? Or maybe you are a Nan. Are you a Nan? What's in your handbag? Please let me know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Come on, girls. Nans. Anyone over the age of 60, 55, 60, shall we say? Although we have younger nans than that, don't we now? What's in your handbag? Let me know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Irvin goes on to say, in her younger days, my mum carried around a purse that could swallow the contents of a grocery store trolley. Did you know that during the 1950s, women in the US would put a brick in the bottom of their purse for added protection from molesters? I didn't know that. In the 1960s, self-defense classes changed the focus to kicking men in their tennis. Well, I won't go on further there. They must have taught that technique in England as well. My ex-wife from Brighton was a real... I can't read that. You know I can't read that. Thank you, Irvin Destiller. One more from Irvin here, who says, hello, Chris. When looking at Terry Turner, he does radio shows as well, Terry Turner's info, I spotted a radio station and went to their website. Listed as on air was Carl with his quick quiz programme. Is that our singing, hating Carl? Yes, it is. And if you ever meet him, Irvin, I'm sure you will probably decide that he's possibly one of the most boring people in the world to talk to. It's He's an anorak. Carl is an anorak. He constantly scours the universe for things that are not correct or maybe wrong in some way or another. There is an email from him in a minute, actually. And he says, about your problem featuring sounds of the Hoover, that show really sucked. Very good, sir. Very good. Very, very clever. I shall have to send along a recording of my Super Sucker 2000. Your Dyson will curl up in a corner and scream like a girl. Bye for now. Did you hear my brand new Dyson the other week? Do you want me to get it now? Well, it's outside. Hang on. Oh, I don't want to knock anything over here. I think it's there. Stay there a minute. Don't move. I think it's on the landing. I'm not sure. 1 minute. Yeah, there it is. There it is. There it is. Just wheeling it in now. Just in case you missed this a few shows ago. Here we go. Listen. Yes. There we are. Listen to that. That's the most powerful Hoover I've ever had. That is. 1 minute. Very powerful machine that is, yes. Shan't have any more... Actually, I've noticed I've only had that Hoover 2 weeks and already the carpet is starting to look rather thin. You can have a Hoover that's too powerful, you know. Thank you, Irvin. Now, I mentioned an email here from Carl, who writes on the subject of Strictly Come Dancing, because we talked about this the other week with... oh, who was that journalist bloke who was on it and he resigned in the end, didn't he? Is it John? Oh, I can't remember. Or maybe he's got it here. Has he got it here? No. No, it doesn't say. Anyway, Carl writes, your US listeners will know this show by its US name, Dancing with the Stars, okay? One of the judges, Len Goodman, does both the UK and US versions. And here goes Carl, because he gets too serious, Carl. He does, quite often I'll be doing something funny here on the show and he doesn't get it. He doesn't get the comedy side of it. You know. Carl writes, I also think you're missing the point. And he always comes out with this one. Carl is one of those people who must have a point to something. Either that or just stirring as usual. I'm not sure which. Well, what do you think, dear? Do you think I was being light-hearted or do you think I was really serious, Carl? Think about it now. Been doing the show 3 years. Come on, it's not hard. The idea behind the show, as Carl says, is that they pair a professional dancer with an amateur or someone who hasn't danced before and they improve over the weeks. Although I didn't watch the show either, as I don't think this was the case with John Sargent. He was being voted for either comedy or sympathy, only at the expense of the other participants. So what? So what, Carl? That's what the public wanted. If you didn't want the public to vote, then you shouldn't have allowed them to. The BBC opened the lines for the public to vote. If they, you see, this is a little bit like, this reminds me a bit with this government here in the UK at the moment and the whole European treaty thing or whatever it's called. Is it not called a constitution now? It's a treaty now, isn't it? It's a treaty. It's a bit like that. They say they were going to give us a vote on that, but they're not going to give us a vote because they damn well know what the answer's going to be. We don't want it. Right? Now, and Ireland, I do believe Ireland, and I don't want to get too political on this programme, but Ireland are going to be asked once again to vote on the European Treaty, even though they've already had one vote and said no. Now they're going back to them and asking them to vote again because it was the wrong decision. There's far too much of this politicians people now telling us all what to do. Not just here in the UK, I'm sure it's happening in other countries as well. When are the politicians going to remember that you are supposed to be serving us, not telling us what to do? And this thing here with the Strictly Come Dancing, if the show's producers or the BBC or whoever's in charge of it, if they've already got some idea of who they want to win, and it goes out to the audience, and the audience don't vote correctly, well, that's not the... Are you blaming the audience for voting for the wrong person? You're having a laugh, aren't you? If you want to keep it professional, just have the judges and don't get the audience to vote. It's as simple as that. You can't do that and then say, oh, no, you're voting wrong. You mustn't vote like that. Don't tell us who to vote for and who not to vote for. Yes, you're quite right, Carl. It is a serious dance competition. And as such, the voting system is flawed. How can you tell people that they're voting incorrectly? I've never heard anything like it in my life. That is wrong. If you don't want the public to vote, don't have phone lines. A similar thing, I think you'll agree with me, or some people I hope will agree with me, happened last year on the X Factor show. In the final were two singers. One was a real proper singer. His name was Reardon. He should have won that competition. Okay? As someone who perhaps understands a little bit about music and that sort of thing, he was by far the best singer out of the two of them. There was him and, I can't even remember the boy's name. Leon, someone or other from Scotland. Was it Jackson? Leon Jackson? I can't remember his name. But you see, what happened is that Leon got the most votes from the public, so he won. Now, Leon, without any doubt, he definitely had the cute factor. And the public voted him as the winner. But he was no way the best singer. And I think sometimes, when it comes to stuff like that, then perhaps there shouldn't be a public vote. You are voting for cuteness and not voice. He didn't have that good a voice, I don't think. And he still doesn't. He had a record out recently and it didn't really happen, did it? No disrespect to the boy, okay? No disrespect to the boy at all. But Reardon was by far the better singer. So that's it, Carl. Maybe if it's going to be a serious dance show, you should just have judges who are experts in the field of dancing and not a public vote. But if you're going to have a public vote and the public vote for the wrong one, don't start slagging them off then. That's a good way to... That's a fantastic way to turn an audience off, isn't it? Carl also goes on to say, oh my God, look at the time. I've hardly got any time left here. Also, golden syrup is the Tate and Lye. You were right, it is treacle. There are, of course, other brands like supermarket-owned brands. Yeah, well, we know about that. Don't start doing all that politically correct radio thing. Start saying, you can't mention one thing and other brands are available. You're getting a bit too serious here, Carl. Are you getting instructions from some other radio station or something on how to do it? Listen, I do this my way and that's it, dear. All right? Now, cameras. I really can't be bothered to counter your points about cameras. I don't really care what official cameras are watching me. They're watching for problems. I've said to you before about this. I don't want to be watched everywhere I'm going. You sit there in your flat telling us that you're not bothered because you're not doing anything wrong. It's not the point, Carl. The point is, I, along with a lot of other people, do not like being walking around being filmed all over the place. I don't like it. Also, of course, is that when I'm going about my work, driving around all the time, we're on cameras all over the place, and I don't like it. It's all very well for people who sit at home doing nothing all day long, because you're not on camera much. But it annoys me. It annoys me that people are watching me all the time. Except, of course, on this programme. Also, of course, it's entirely possible that there may be perverts among the employees watching the security cameras, but they're supposed to be weeded out at the interview process. Yeah, right, of course they are. Just like all these people that work in government social services departments, and then years later they're found out to be dodgy people. There's plenty of them about. These interviews do not weed everyone out. I don't care how careful they are. People slip through. However, anyone who comes into contact with children in a professional capacity, even volunteers, need to be checked. Of course they need to be checked. Of course they do. But even though they do these checks, people slip through. They do. Thank you for that, Carl. Lighten up, for God's sake. Right, we're nearly done now. I'm not going to have time to open your box again, but I just wanted to welcome someone new to the show, Mert in Turkey. Hello, Mert. You are our first Turkish emailer ever in the whole history, 3 years of this show. And Mert says, hello, a new listener from Turkey. Just listened to one of your shows and I love it. So thank you, Mert, who has become a Facebook friend. There is another email here from work. Have I got time to read it? Oh, I don't think I have. Nope, we'll have to save it for the next show. And I promised Joe, Joe, I will definitely open your box on the next show, okay? Thank you very much for watching and listening to the show today. Any comments, as always, or anything you want to say, please feel free to email chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. See you on the next show. Bye-bye now.